Welcome back to the channel. Are you looking for a cargo e-bike that has some pretty unique features? Well, this is the Letrigo Minivan SE, and I'm going to show you everything you need to know about it. Plus, we're going to put a lot of weight on the back and run this bike through a lot of testing. So let's get into it. When it comes to the assembly of this bike, guys, it really couldn't get any easier. This thing comes 95% assembled. All I had to do was put on the stem on this bike. The handlebars were already attached and the pedals. That was it. Now, I did opt for the basket here on the back, and you would have to put that on separately, and it comes in a separate box. But when you get your Letrigo Minivan SE, it's going to come to you as a Class 2 e-bike, which means you can go up to 20 miles an hour via this thumb throttle here on your left-hand side, your torque sensor, and your 5 levels of pedal assist. This bike can also be unlocked to Class 3 all the way up to 28 miles an hour, making this the fastest cargo e-bike that I have reviewed. This bike weighs 71 pounds, but has a maximum payload capacity of 460 pounds. And during the making of this video, you can get the Minivan SE for only $17.99, and it comes with a 2-year warranty. Obviously, this bike's only going to come in a step-through model, and Letrigo says that the average rider height for the Minivan SE starts at 5'2" and goes to 6'3". It also comes in 2 colors. You have a green and this white version that I have right here. I'm such a sucker for white bikes, but I think this one looks really, really good, just done up all in black and white. Now, they say that the Minivan SE will go 40 miles on a single battery charge. Look, guys, during my review here today, we're going to unlock it to Class 3 speeds. I'm going to put 100 pounds of weight here in the back, so I don't expect to get anywhere near that kind of mileage. The Minivan SE has a 48-volt, 750-watt rear hub motor. It's got 1,200 watts of peak power and 90 Newton meters of torque. With this rear hub motor, it has a smart temperature sensor and a special patented nylon steel gears to ensure up to 18,000 miles of trouble-free, smooth adventures. It has a Shimano 8-speed transmission, a Shimano Altus derailleur, and the Shimano 8-speed trigger shifter. For stopping power, you have the Tektro 4-piston hydraulic brake system with these super thick 180 millimeter rotors. The front forks are hydraulic. They have 60 millimeters of travel. You can preload them and you can lock them out. It has spoked 24-inch wheels with a quick release. The tires are by Chow Yang. They are 24 by 2.6 inches. They have a medium mountain bike pattern on them, and they are puncture resistant. The battery is here in the back. It sits underneath your seat. It is a 48-volt, 14 amp hours with 672 watt hours of power. You can charge it while it's on the bike with this charging port right here. And there is also an on and off button, so you need to make sure you have that turned on before you ride the bike. Now, when it comes to charging, it will come with a 3 amp charger, which means you can take this bike from 0 to 100% in just under 5 hours. Now, you don't have to leave it on the bike. You can take the battery out and charge it someplace else. When it comes to removing the battery, it can be a little tricky if you have the basket here on the back. But what you're going to do is use one of your 2 keys. You're going to put it in there, spin it forward, pull the key out, and that way we can just pop it over. And then normally you would just be able to lift it out through the back, but because of this, I just pull it out through here. Now, the battery is going to have a little battery indicator button on it so that if you're charging it inside, you have it in there. And then to put the battery back in, I'm just going to slide it through the side of the frame, slap it into place, use your key, lock it, and you're good to go. The Minivan SE has a UL certification of 2271. It also has an IPX rating of 5, which means it is protected against low-pressure water streams from any angle. Additional features include metal fenders, aluminum pedals, a double center kickstand, padded seat with quick release seat post, a rear rack that can hold up to 220 pounds, an LED light bar that goes down the frame, and an adjustable stem. You can purchase additional accessories for the Minivan SE, and that is this basket right here, or you can put a child carrier here on the back. It doesn't come with any panniers. I think there might be a front rack that you can purchase with this, but that's about it. So I am hoping that they come out with like panniers for it or something like that, or some footboards, because I think those things are going to be needed. But during the making of this video, these were the only options that we have. If you were looking at this foldy lock, that doesn't come with the bike. I purchased that separately and went ahead and added my own mirror. Cockpit operations. On your left-hand side, you have a double locking grip. It has a great feeling medium type rubber and a palm rest. Right here is your front brake lever. This is your throttle, and this is your control pad. To turn on your bike, you're going to go ahead and hold the power button here that's in the middle of the pad. There is your display. This display is actually full color. It just doesn't look like it at the moment. Up here is the time. I really should set the time because that is not the time at all. This tells you what pedal assist level you're in. You can see this little indicator right there. That tells me that we are connected to the app. Yes, it does have an app. There is a bar right here that's going to show the amount of power. This is your miles per hour, your odometer, and your battery indicator level. To get different information out of the display, we're just going to hit the power button here real quick. It's going to show us various different things about our trip and the amount of time we've been on the bike, the max speed, the average speed, calories burned, CO2 stuff, and then it comes back to the main display. If you want to go up in pedal assist, you're just going to hit this plus button. And now we can start to see the full colorness of it. And you can see that it has different colors for each pedal assist level. To go down in pedal assist levels, we're just going to hit the negative button, and that'll take you all the way down to 0. This bike does have turn signals and a headlight. To turn the headlight on, we're just going to hold the plus button right there. The headlight does come on. There is a little indicator right here, and the screen did dim. To go ahead and turn the headlight off, we're just going to hold that plus button again. This is your front headlight. It does have a reflector down below it. It is one bulb, and it seems decently bright. Whenever you turn the bike on, the LED light on your frame lights up. This is your rear tail light. Right now, the video shows that it is flashing, but it is actually solid, and this is what it looks like when you hit the brakes. Whenever the headlight is turned off, the turn signals and brake functionality still work. The turn signals, well, you hit the left-hand turn signal, and you can see it on the indicator. You can also see it in 2 different areas here on the bike. It is coming down the side tubes, and it is showing up from the rear. And to turn the turn signals off, you can just hit the button again. On the right-hand side, you have your rear brake lever right here. This is your trigger shifter. To go down in gear, you're just going to hit it with your thumb right here, and then to go up in gear, you're going to use your index finger. Let's talk about advanced features. There are 2 different ways that we can mess with the advanced features on this bike. One is through the display and the control panel, and the second is through the app. To access it through the display, we're going to hit the plus and minus button. We're just going to hold those down, and then you can see your basic settings pop up. This is your time format. You can change the time. Let's go back. E-bike settings. This is where we can clear the trip. You know what? We're going to go ahead and do that. I've put 40 miles on this bike, and so we're just going to clear the trip so that way we can track today's ride. We're going to go back. You can make it reset automatically. That means every time you turn the bike off, it will reset. Let's go ahead and go to back. Auto off, auto headlight, backlight. I wonder if there's an auto function for that. Nope, just 1 through 5. Okay, we're going to stick with that. Speed limit, 45 kilometers. When you first get it, it's going to be at 32, but we want it at 45, so that's where you're going to make it speed up. Password, you can put a password on this bike as a security feature, factory reset, advanced settings. Right here, this is where we can mess with the wheel diameter, speed sensors. I never mess with anything like this. Oh, cruise control, that is on, and we will make use of that feature here in a bit. App connection, this is how you're going to connect to the app, and it shows you how to bind it. You're going to QR code it with your app, and that's how you're going to connect to the bike. This is where you get information about the firmware settings and all of that, which through the app, you can update the firmware settings if it needs it. From there, you can exit back out, and it takes you to the main display. It is that time where I'm going to take this bike out on the road, and we're going to run it through all kinds of testing. This is the Letrigo app. Right here, you can see the bike is on there. Tells me about the headlight. You can turn the headlight on from there. Shows you your battery and your odometer and your trip mileage. If you remember, we reset the trip stuff and different basic settings, right? From miles per hour, assist levels, all of that stuff. Here's where you can increase your speed limit and your screen brightness. But what I want to show you guys right here is this, the lighting strip. Now, the cool thing about this is you can change what the strip does. As you can see, we've just changed it to that. I can make it strobe, or it can do like a breathing. I am going to put it on strobe. We're going to confirm that, but we can also change the color to any color that you want. See, we just made it green. Right there is red, pink, blue. And for this review, I'm going to go ahead and make it green. I like that. And then we're going to make it strobe. You confirm that, and you can control it that way. You can also control how bright you want it, but this is daytime, so I definitely want people to see this, and that's how we're going to have it. Now, I do want to let you know that when that is flashing and you do use the turn signal, it does switch from that and go into turn signal mode. You can also do other things with this. It gives you information about the bike. You can check it out and do any of your updating that you need to do to the firmware. They have this Discover page, which I'm not really sure what that is. It will also track your mileage. So we're going to change that, and then we're going to put go, and we're going to see how well it tracks the bike during this ride. Oh, okay, so it looks like so we can't do any other features with the bike when it is doing that, so we're just going to go confirm that because I want to show you everything else. Here has the store, which goes into the things that you can get for this bike and the different bikes that they have. From there, you can also look into your account and your settings and all of that kind of good stuff. Well, now that I've showed you everything, we might as well just go ahead and start tracking the ride. We are out here on the 606 trail. We have the bike in 0 pedal assist, so we don't have any assist going. The throttle doesn't work over here, and it's not giving us any power to the bike. We're riding it just like a normal analog bike. We're doing about 12 miles an hour. It's a pretty easy ride as long as you have it into like gear 4 over here on your right. Today's temperature is going to be about 52 degrees, and so it should be a beautiful day to go for a ride. Let's go ahead and test out the torque sensor on this bike. We're cruising at about 16 miles an hour right now. We have it in eco. And if I crank on it, well, we should be able to climb. Yeah, this has a really smooth feeling torque sensor. We're climbing in speed. Yeah, this one's pretty nice. There are different types of torque sensors, and this is a good one, especially for a cargo bike. Let's go ahead and check out the throttle. I put it into eco mode. We're going to go ahead, use the throttle, and see if it is dictated by whatever speed that we have it in. And I can tell you right now, it does not. And it looks like top speed is 27 miles an hour, throttle only. Oh, I just realized this bike doesn't have a bell. Oh, excuse me, on your left. Why does a cargo bike not have a bell on it? Let's go ahead and check out what the average speed is on these different pedal assist levels. You know, speeds of what makes me feel comfortable riding. Like in eco mode right here, I'm comfortably doing 13 miles an hour. Let's go ahead and try tour. In tour, you will comfortably be riding at 17 miles an hour. Now remember guys, I did unlock this to class 3 speeds. So obviously if you kept it into class 2, these speeds would be different. I have it in pedal assist normal. And from there, you're going to comfortably cruise at 23 miles an hour, and I do have it into gear 8. If you put it into sport mode, you'll comfortably pedal at 22 miles an hour. And in turbo, 24 miles an hour will be a comfortable speed in turbo. When you get the basket, it comes with this strap right here that you can use to just secure things to the basket itself. Let's go ahead and check out the speedometer. Right now, it shows that we're doing about a mile faster than what the GPS is showing. So whatever our top speed is, well, we're just going to have to subtract a mile from it. That should also affect how this tracks the distance that we go today. Let's go ahead and do a speed test. We're going to do throttle only. See how fast it takes us to get up to that 27 miles an hour. It takes off nicely. And it's nice and controlled. Now we are doing this without any weight on the bike except for my backpack. There we go. Hit 27, but it took a long time to get there, and that was with 0 weight on the bike. Well, not 0 weight, but you guys know what I mean. Now we're going to see how quick we can get it up to 28 miles an hour using pedal assist only. I have it in turbo. Let's go and see how quick we can get there. This thing is going quick. We are going up in gear, and boom, 28, 29. Oh, we just hit 29 miles an hour. That was the fastest it was able to go. That's still pretty doggone quick for a cargo bike. Since I have been using this bike for a while, I normally keep it in tour, and we were cruising at about 22 miles an hour. That's what I've been doing for the past couple of weeks. Now for this, I have not put as much weight on this bike as I will be doing today, so I have no idea how it's going to perform. I have made some big grocery runs with it, but nothing that's going to be as heavy as this. The nice thing about having a cargo bike that can go up to 27 miles an hour is that it makes it much easier for me to keep up with traffic or to stay ahead of it, just depending on the situation. I just realized I turned off the bike, so we're just going to pause it, and then we're going to try to reconnect it. This is on the app for the bike itself. So we're going to see if I mess things up or if it's actually going to pick it up. It shows where we're at, and it was tracking it, so I went ahead and hit pause. I just have to remember to hit play once we get it going again. When I have reviewed other cargo bikes, this is the exact setup that I use to add weight to the bike. I have weighed these before. These things, I believe they weigh about 44 pounds, puts us about 88. So then when you add that plus my camera equipment, well, we're close to 100 pounds. Compared to some of the other baskets that I have on my other cargo bikes, this thing seems to be about twice as tall. I like it. I do like the size of this thing. This thing is huge, and you can put a ton of stuff on here. Now remember, this whole back area can hold up to 220 pounds. So we're not even, like really pushing the amount of weight that this bike can hold. For this though, this little band's not going to work. Well, I guess it might. I'm just trying to make sure that the water stays. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, that's going to work. But one thing I want to have you guys notice that when you put a lot of weight on here, because this is 24-inch wheels instead of 20, well, it doesn't, it's not very stable. I feel like these should have been wider, and that would make it to where you could put more weight on here and feel comfortable. So if they, maybe on the next version, they'll make the kickstand wider, and then that would make this bike feel more secure whenever it has weight on it. Let's see if this will pick up where we left off. I know Strava has, so I'm not really worried about it. With the bike sitting up higher, you can definitely feel the weight that is on the back. Now, it doesn't feel like sketchy or anything. I still feel very much under control. It's just one of those things that you can definitely tell that there's weight in the back. And for the first time, I feel like I'm sitting high up on a bike. I figure with this kind of weight, if you had a small child and you were using the child carrier that they have on the back, then this is going to give you a good idea on how it would perform as well, instead of just using cargo. Now, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to keep it in tour with all this weight on the back, but I am, and it still feels comfortable. I still feel like I have plenty of power, and really just the riding experience feels pretty good. I do like the seat that is on this bike. I also am really happy with these grips. Even with the weight that is on here, this bike still feels pretty stable. Like the front end doesn't feel light. With some bikes, you would just figure that when you put a bunch of weight on the back, that it would feel light on the front end, but this one doesn't. I feel like this bike should have different tires on it, only because it is a cargo bike, and these are kind of like mountain bike tires a little bit. So the only reason I would see that you're having these kind of tires, because if you have a cargo bike, it's not like you're taking it off the road. I mean, I guess you could take it off into some gravel and stuff like that, but you're not attacking any real serious trails with a cargo bike. Well, I mean, maybe one or two of you do, but I think the majority don't. So because of that, I feel like it should have like street tires on it, something a little bit more road friendly. You definitely need to be extra careful whenever you have weight on there. See how this thing just wants to fall over? That is my second endorsement on having a wider center kickstand. Oh, if that was a child, you would feel real insecure of putting your hand off the bike while they were sitting there. It is time to do the brake test. We're going to do it in two different modes, one with no weight on the bike and then the other one with it loaded down. We're also going to do one at 20 miles an hour in case you keep it into class 2, and then 28 miles an hour to see how fast it stops at top speed. Right now, we're going to go ahead and do the 20 mile an hour one, and let's see how it does. This bike stopped at 14 feet. Oh, man, those 4-piston brakes. Let's go ahead and put this thing into full speed and see how it does. Let's go ahead. 28 miles an hour, let's go. What is that, 21, 22 feet? Oh yeah, let's go ahead. We're gonna throw some weight on the back and see how it brakes. I now have the back loaded with water. Let's go ahead and see what it will do at 20 miles an hour and how quick it'll stop. This will give you a good indication if you were carrying a passenger on how quick you'll be able to stop. Oh, 14 feet. I think that was like really close to what we did the first time without weight. Let's see how it handles at 28 miles an hour. Not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous about it. All right, let's go. 28 miles an hour, let's do it. Oh, the pucker factor was definitely on, but we stopped at 25 feet. Oh, it kicked to the left a little bit, but man, my eyes, I'm sure, were like huge because I locked this thing up. 25 feet with all that weight on the back. Yeah, that's good. I don't think I want to do that brake test again. Oh yeah, we're gonna make it. It is time to do the off-road part of this test. Let's go ahead. Here we go. Oh, I hear things rattling around in the back, but hopefully that band and my net will keep everything back there. Oh gosh, we hit pretty hard. Tell you what, this suspension, the forks are doing rather well. I mean, maybe that's why they put these kind of tires on it, so you could just take it through areas like this with no problem, because that's what we're doing. Things are rattling around in the back, and we'll have to check that here in a second. But let's go ahead and pop off this. Hopefully they see us. Okay, great. Felt like things just, on that last bump, things just moved back to where they should be. We're almost here to the hill climb, so we'll check it out here in a minute. It is time for the hill climb. I'm gonna leave all the weight on the back of this bike. This is how it would be done anyways. I do have it into turbo. We're gonna use throttle only at first, and then we're gonna try it with pedal assist. So let's see how it does. The hill in front of me goes from 18 to 20% grade. And right now, I am not sure if we're gonna make it. We're only doing 7 miles an hour. Oh no, oh no, oh no. I'm trying to help it by turning the wheel. Oh, it does not have the power to make it up this hill. Oh, it hasn't stopped though, but now it has. Okay, so we don't have the power to make it up this hill from a dead stop. Let's go ahead and try a couple other ways. I want this thing to make it, so we're gonna try it from throttle only from back here, and let's see if we can make it up the hill with a rolling start. Now I feel more confident on whether we can make it or not. Although here's where it starts to get steep right here, and then it gets steeper a little bit farther up. Oh my gosh, we're only at 5 miles an hour. But I do believe we are gonna make it. Come on, you can make it. You can make it. Oh, there it is. Boy, is this thing not happy. We dropped down to 43% on the battery by just doing the stuff that we've done so far. But really, when you add weight on the back of this, I mean, that's when it really matters. Now we're gonna try it using pedal assist only. I have it in turbo, dropped it down to like gear 3. Let's see how it performs this time. Now, oh, I can tell already, this is not gonna be an issue. Matter of fact, I kicked it down into gear 2. Now you're not gonna go real fast, but I'm also not putting any real effort to get us up this hill. So that tells you that if you have some weight or somebody on the back, you need to make sure that you are pedaling before you hit the hill. When I'm looking at the maneuverability of this bike with the weight on it, it does feel pretty good. Like I'm not getting thrown to one side or the other, although I am not being very drastic with how I am working this bike. But I believe that it is going to be, like the center of gravity feels pretty good on this bike. So that's where my thoughts have come in on how this bike would perform. All right, guys, this is gonna be silly, but let's go ahead and do the sand test. I don't know why I'm doing it with this bike, but that's what we're doing. I do want to point out a couple of things. Look at this right here. I think this is pretty smart. What it does is it keeps your wheel forward, and that way it doesn't do any weird stuff. So I like this little spring. I think other bikes should have that as well. That's pretty smart. Also, I want to point out that, look, all of this is square tubing as opposed to round. And It does have a lot of, parts to anchor into things, although they just don't have that many accessories. I do have a separate set of panniers that I'm going to see if they will fit on this bike, which I hope they do. We are going to attempt to do a sand test. Guys, I really don't think that this bike is going to do decent at all, actually. Let me go ahead and put it into turbo. I've already got it down into gear 4. I think this is going to be a hot mess. I don't think bikes are built for this, especially cargo bikes, but we're going to find out. So let's go and see how it performs. Wait, what? Oh my gosh. Oh, I did not expect this at all. Are you kidding me? Okay, that is awesome. So if you did have some kids and you wanted to take them to the beach, man, you could get them. You could see it's trying really hard. Oh, this motor's not happy. I just can't get my feet on the pedals. Let's go. Let's go. There we go. Holy cow. This was a surprise. I didn't expect this at all. Not only will this bike make it to the beach, but it'll definitely make it through the beach. That was insane. I am really surprised on how well this bike did going through the sand. I really didn't think it was going to do well at all, considering how it performed on the hill test. But it seems like if you're on level ground, this thing has tons of power. I did want you guys to see how the turn signals look like when you are riding. This is pretty cool. Now, they do stick out a little bit here in the front, and because of that, you should be able to see them when you're coming towards the bike from the front as well. The testing we have done so far with this bike has really put a strain on the battery. We are already down to 30%, and we just now finished up with most of the simple training. We definitely don't have enough battery power to take us all the way out to the lake and back. So we're just going to be hitting some local streets until we run out of power. We ended up doing speed tests with no weight on the bike. So let's go ahead and see how this bike will work. Now, we're going to use throttle only. You know what? I'm going to put it up into turbo anyways. We're just going to use throttle and see how quick it's going to take us to get up to that 27 miles an hour that we're able to go on the throttle. 25 miles an hour was the fastest I was able to get it to go. But as I look down, we have 32% battery power. So we're not doing it with full power. But it did feel pretty smooth at that 25 mile an hour. Now the question is, can I get it up to 28 with only 29% battery? We have it in turbo, we have it in gear 4, and let's go. Let's see if we can get this bike up to full speed and how long it will take us to do it. I mean, this bike picks up pretty quick. I'm already shifting up in gears. Ooh, wasn't sure about that. Let's go. 27 is the fastest I can get it. And I have to tell you, with this much weight on the back, I do not like it. I think a bike like this is great that it can do 28 when you don't have a bunch of weight on the back of it. But when you do, it feels a little scary. And even though I know that it brakes extremely well, you still feel a little sketch about it. Let's go ahead and check on how things are going here. Now, what's it show us? That we have gone 14.6 miles so far. Let's see if we pause it. I guess this doesn't give us information until we make it to the end. All right, let's go ahead and unpause that. I figured if I paused it, maybe it would give us some information, but it does not. All right, let's take a look at Strava. Strava shows that we've gone 14.31. So far, this is saying 14.6, so it is close enough to where I don't feel like you would need to use a separate app to track the mileage. We'll just have to wait until the end to see if the app recorded this ride. I have put the bike back into tour. We are at 26% battery power, and we're just going to see how many miles we can go. One thing I can tell you is that there has been zero ghost pedaling with this bike. It is one of those ones that is just geared incredibly well, which is what you would definitely want for a cargo bike. This is where a bell would definitely come in handy. This rear motor does make some noise. It's not one of the quietest motors, but it's also not one of the loudest. But you will notice it while you ride. But I just think because it is like seriously geared so that it can handle this weight, and because of that, well, it's going to make noise. We have made it to the end of the 606. Now we have 3.3 miles to go to make it to the house. We're down to 8% battery power. It just dropped to 7. Holy cow. I wonder if we are going to make it back before it runs out of power. We have dropped down to 4% battery power, and we still got a ways to go. It now shows that we have 2% battery power. Oh no, it just dropped down to 0% battery power right now, and I'm at least a mile away from the house. I'm gonna go ahead and kick it down into Eco. Maybe I can get a little farther with that setting. Eco did seem to help. It went ahead and put us back up to 1% battery power. I am curious to see though, will throttle work with it at this low of a battery level? Let's find out. It is, and it's even pushing the bike forward. All right, that's impressive. We are back at 0% on the battery indicator. And at this point, well, I'm gonna be heading home. I definitely don't want to get stuck any farther out here than I need to with this kind of weight on the back. Let's go ahead and check out and see if it actually tracked our mileage here. That button doesn't seem to be working. So it's either play, pause, and I figured that would stop it, but it does not. So let's pop out of there. And if we go into go, what, it just started the whole thing over again. So I think, yeah, don't, either I did something wrong, but the button wasn't working. So this didn't really show us anything. I might have done it wrong, but I mean, this is a real world test, and that's what happened in the real world. If you're using it for the first time and you do the go thing and it does the count off, and then you do your ride, and then you go to the part where you pause it, and then you go to end it, and it won't end. So you're just stuck with turning it off, and then it doesn't track your mileage. Oh, actually, it did. Look, it's showing that we did 21 miles on the trip, but that might just be showing, look, it doesn't match up with the display though. Interesting. We have made it back, and I really didn't want to go any farther as long as this battery power was showing 0, and it still does. Now, when I took a look at the display shows that we went 20.6 miles. Now, I looked at Strava. Strava showed that we went 19.99. And if you remember when we were doing the speedometer versus the display, well, it did show that the bike was doing about a mile faster than what it was on the speedometer. So, of course, it's going to show that we've gone farther than what we've actually done. So just so you know, you can have this thing loaded down and put it through all kinds of abuse, and you're going to get about 20 miles out of this bike. That would be a safe assumption as long as you were cruising in tour. And, well, you know what? You could get more out of it if you weren't doing the crazy stuff that I was doing. 100%. I've been using this bike for a couple weeks to run groceries, and I can normally do 2 or 3 trips without having to recharge this battery. So I think that's pretty good. That's about average when it comes to cargo bikes. Let me go ahead and turn this off in case it's bothering you guys. There we go. I really dig this sidebar right here, right? The fact that you can customize the LED lighting for it, and it is a turn signal. I mean, that's what I think is really smart about this bike. I enjoy the seating position on this bike, so I really enjoy riding it. I mean, I know the tires are taller. It's my first 24-inch cargo bike, and you do sit up a little bit higher, and you have to get used to it. But I do like the feeling of it, and it rides pretty good. So I have been using this exclusively for a couple of weeks now, just because I like it and I wanted to test it out. Now, the biggest issue that I see with this bike is this center kickstand. I know I mentioned it a couple of times during this review, but it is just too thin to be stable when you have a bunch of weight on the back of it. You have to make sure that you are definitely on flat land whenever you are loading stuff up or taking it off and you get off of the bike, because if not, it's going to tip over really easy. And it's a simple fix, and I'm sure they'll do it on the next one, where all they have to do is make that center kickstand wider and it would be good to go. I really like this bike. I like the fact that it's white and all black. I think that looks pretty cool. It would be nice if they had more accessories to it. I do have an extra pair of panniers that I'm going to end up throwing on here to see if they're going to work. If that does, that's just going to make this bike more useful to me. Overall, though, I think for a cargo bike that can go 28 miles an hour, I think that is, I mean, it's nice when you don't have things in weight on the back of it and you're just trying to get from one place to another to load up stuff. Having a bike that can do those higher speeds, to me, is safer in a city like this than one that is locked out at 20 miles an hour.